Hey, everybody. Hey, here I am again. It is Saturday, April the 25th, 2020. This is the second video I'm shooting tonight. This will be the last one for tonight. I'll post both of these as soon as I'm done here. The last one was just kind of talking about a little bit of history about me and how I got started and all that stuff. Some of you that don't, that maybe have subscribed or have come across this video that don't really know me very well or anything like that, or we've never had a chance to meet or anything. Just wanted to give you some background information, just about who I am and, what the hell made him think that he wanted to be a professional saxophone player? Like, who does that, right? Yeah, that kind of thing. So just trying to explain, talk about some of that stuff. This next one it'll go under gig stories. Out of the ones that I posted, of the bunch of them, I think this one is the one that I got the most response to, interestingly enough, which I didn't expect. But I'm gonna discuss this one or talk about this one right here, right now. So read it to you, so you know what it is that it was and all that. And this one happens to be about being a member of the Calgary Stampede Grandstand Show Orchestra. I'm sure most of you, even who don't live in Calgary or Southern Alberta or in Canada, might have heard of the Calgary Stampede at some point. One of, if not the world's largest rodeo, midway out. They dub it the greatest outdoor show on earth. And as irony can be so ironic sometimes, it's funny, I just heard yesterday that the Stampede for this year is now canceled because of COVID-19. And I think that's the first time in a century, or the first time ever, that it's been canceled. So yeah, how ironic that I'm doing a story about the Stampede the day after it's been canceled for this year. So anyway, so here it is. Yeah, I'll just read it to you, and I might inject some comments and stuff as we go along. We'll see. Anyway, this is early 90s again. So this is I would still be in university, and my road tours would have been finished. So in 1993, I was hired to be a member of the Calgary Stampede Grandstand Orchestra and ended up playing the Grandstand show for 17 years. Over those 17 years, the group went through a few different instrumentations, but for the first number of years, the instrumentation stayed pretty consistent. 5 saxes, 4 trombones, 4 trumpets, piano, bass, drums, guitar, and percussion. We backed the Young Canadians each year, as well as a lot of the variety acts. The Young Canadians were a youth group that has it's over 50 years worth of history that is the mainstay for the Grandstand show. The singing, dancing, that kind of a thing. I played Barry sax for the first bunch of years and then ended up switching to tenor sax later on. One year within the first 7 or 8 years, I think it was, one of the acts that was featured was a comedian by the name of Wally Eastwood. And one of the main parts of Wally's act was that he had a slab of wood that looked like a keyboard. It was like a foam, with black and white keys and stuff. And actually what do I say here? Slab of wood that looked like a keyboard, which was actually a tone generator. So he had some rubber balls, and I say this here, he also had 3 rubber balls that he would bounce off of this tone generator, and it would sound like a piano. So he would just drop the balls onto the foam part, and a note would sound. Obviously, it's been programmed in a certain way. It's not actually hitting notes like on a keyboard or anything like that. So it's all programmed in there. But anyway, that's what that was. And then at one point in the act, our guitarist, Russ Broom, came out on stage using a wireless pack for power, and was to finish out the act playing Dueling Banjos along with Wally. On one particular night, Russ came out on stage ready to go as per usual. Oh, and Russ Broom, for the local folks and also for all the Canadian folks watching this, Russ and I were doing a house gig together in Kensington, here in Calgary, area of Calgary in the Northwest, at a club called Big Wally's. And it was mainly his gig, and he had booked me on it. And I remember him coming to me one time and saying, "By the way, I'm auditioning for Jan Arden's band, And if I get it, I'm going to hand this gig over to you, this gig at Big Wally's, this club. And not long after that, he got in contact with me and said that he ended up joining Jan Arden's band, and he and Jan were together, I think, for 16 years. He was he was her main co-writer for that time, and his guitarist and all that. So I'm sure some of you out there certainly know who Russ Broom is, and if you don't actually know who he is to see him, you'd know, if you ever listened to Jan Arden stuff, you'd know him for sure. You would have heard him. Brilliant guitarist, producer, programmer. Yeah, he's a happening dude, that one. Yeah, and a very nice guy. So anyway, just wanted to put that out there. Give a shout out to Russ. Hey, Russ! Anyway, on one particular night, Russ came out on stage ready to go as per usual, but he wasn't able to get the guitar going. It kept dying. We found out later that whomever was in charge of charging the wireless packs did not charge the guitar pack from the night before. As a matter of fact, they left it on from the night, the previous night. They left the pack on, and it was on all day. So by the time Russ put it on the following night, it was completely drained. The contractor for the Grandstand show, a gentleman by the name of Sam Latvia, was also our conductor for that year's show. And right after this technical glitch began to occur, as I'm sitting with all the other guys in the band shell, I all of a sudden hear Sam yell out, "Pat, head on down there." I look over at Sam with a seriously look on my face, and I say, "You want me to go down there?" And he replies with an adamant yes. I thought he was joking, so I looked away thinking he was just pulling my leg and kind of laughed it off. A few seconds later, I looked back at his podium, and he was still staring at me and said, "Why are you still here?" I looked at him and said, "You're serious. You want Barry sax for Dueling Banjos?" Again, I got an emphatic yes. I got up from my seat and proceeded down from our band shell onto the main stage and began walking towards Wally. At the same time, the show's producer, Bill Avery, walked up on stage with a wireless handheld microphone and introduced me to Wally and the 17,000 audience members staring at us. Wally said, "Hi, Pat, pleased to meet you. This is Dueling Banjos in C." I said, "Okay, let's do it." And off we went, me playing into the wireless mic that Bill was holding. We played the melody as it usually goes, and all that stuff. And then I just launched into a bunch of improvising from then on, playing in and around what Wally's tone generator was pumping out. I have to admit, hearing Dueling Banjos played on Barry sax was unusual, to say the least. As the improv part of the tune came to an end, everything stopped, and Wally turned to me and said, "Give me an ending." Now, the key we were in, concert C, allowed me to play the lowest note on my instrument without sounding wrong and out of context. And the other thing about that, too, let me demonstrate here this is my tenor. It's not my Barry, but when all the keys are closed, on this low A, for example, every key is closed. All the air comes up out of here because all the keys are shut. The only place the air can go is out the bell. If the mic is here, about here, the air comes up and just smacks the end of the bell. And you get a very loud, booming, beautiful, huge, tone of goodness, shall we say. Soundmen hate it, but I love it. Anyway, he said, "Give me an ending." Now, the key we're in, concert C, allowed me to play the lowest note on my instrument without sounding wrong or out of context. So the moment Wally called out for an ending, it took me about a nanosecond for my brain to go, "Opportunity is knocking. Hello." And I pounded out the loudest low A, or concert C, so all my keys were closed and all that air came up through that bell, smacked into that microphone. So I pounded out the loudest low A, or concert C that I could, right into that wireless mic, and it was good. Smiley face. Strike that off my bucket list. Right after that loud booty rattling, I just came up with that on the fly. I thought it was pretty good. Anyway, whatever. Note finished, reverberating throughout the Grandstand area. Wally turns to me and says, "That's not an ending." And I thought to myself, "Oh yeah, Wally, I beg to differ. I thought it was pretty stellar, to tell you the truth, but I guess I'm a bit biased. Wally finished up the song, shook my hand, as did Bill Avery, and I headed up back into the bandshell. As I arrived at the bandshell, Sam Latvia reached into his pocket and handed me $40. And he did. He handed me two $20 bills and thanked me. I then asked, why did you want Barry sax with Wally? And he replied, and I quote, I just knew that if I sent you down, something would happen, and something needed to happen to keep the show moving. Needless to say, after that, Russ Broom's wireless power pack was always fully charged for each show. So yeah, that's that's one Stampede event. I mean, that's one where it certainly involved me, and I didn't expect to be front and center in front of 17,000 pairs of eyes. But oh well, you never know what's going to happen, do you? And how it's going to happen. So yeah, I ended up getting the most response from that story, with people making comments and finding that to be pretty fascinating. I think it was mostly local people who have frequented the Stampede and the Grandstand show before. So, but yeah, that's, I think I'll remember that for a long time. Just interesting chain of events and how that went down. But anyway, yeah, so that's that story. That's another one. Another one bites the dust. So yeah, you never know what's going to happen or when it's going to happen on some gigs. You know, that's the way things go. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that one. This will be my last one that I'll record tonight. There was this and then one before this one. I've got more to come though, so don't worry. I mean, you know, we're in isolation. What else am I going to do, right? So I've got plenty of time to do this. But this will be the last one for tonight, and I'll post these right away. And as I say, after every video, I do have an email address if you want to contact me. I'll put it down below. If you're on YouTube, you'll see it probably a few lines below this video. And it's YouTube at belltones.ca, YOUTUBE at BELLTONES.ca. And feel free to send me comments, questions, topic suggestions, say hi. No spam, please. Nobody's done that yet, and I'm very glad of that. And maybe it's because I keep harping on the idea of don't send me spam. So I don't know. So I get enough crap in all the other email addresses I have. So yeah, please, you know, if you've got any comments or questions, etc., please let me know and send me a message there. Okay. Hope you're having a great night and all is going well in your isolation. And I'll see you soon because I got more stuff to talk about. And if you have any suggestions or something you want to hear, talk to me. YouTube at belltones.ca. Okay, bye.